easy now, folks. I'm going to start by saying I'm a big fan of this Superfish filter here. You can see there's quite a lot of debris still floating about, and I don't think it's a filter's fault. I think it's how I originally set it up. So I'm going to change that up while I'll do a review on it for you here. So let's get into it. First off, you can see the flow rate is really good. You can see the way it's agitating the water here. And if we move below the surface a little bit, you can see that's a good couple of inches below the surface. So no complaints with that at all. I'll move on to the one complaint I do have about it. And that is when you want to do your maintenance, you have to remove the whole unit. You have to take the whole filter out. With plenty of filters these days, that's not the case, but I'm not calling it a big drawback, especially when there's so many other things making it a great filter. The reason you got to take it out is to get to the compartment where your media is, you need to release this catch at the bottom, which is also at the back. And you can't really do that very easily when it's in situation in the tank, at least I couldn't anyway. The other models in this line, the 50, 100, 200 and 400, are designed differently. So you may well be able to remove that media when it's in the tank, but I've not played with this yet. I'm working with the XL, which is the one that I preferred. For a few reasons actually, most noticeably the extra compartment for loads more media. So as we remove the backing, you're going to be able to see what I think was my problem. I did notice a lot of the debris floating past the grills, which I kind of thought it should pick up. And like I said, I don't think it was a filter's fault. I think what I did was I added far too much of the medium and finer sponge, and I've maybe choked it up a wee bit. So we'll change that now, and we'll see at the end of the video what a difference it makes. You can see from the colour of the sponges here, it was doing its job. It was drawing the water and the debris through. I just felt it should be doing it a little bit better. So to change it up, I'm going to need to eat my words a little bit and use one of the two sponges that the filter came with. I'm still going to remove the carbon. I've said before, I only really use that in very specific circumstances. So you can stuff the gap in the middle with more media if you wish. But this sponge is a lot more coarse, so the water can flow through it a bit more easier. And in turn, hopefully that's going to affect how well the water is drawn in and the debris with it. That's going to sit up the top then, and in the bottom half is where I'm going to add my medium and fine pads. I'm just going to chop down the ones that I used originally because they would already have started getting colonised by bacteria. There's no sense losing that at this stage, although some of it is probably dying off because it's not in the water while I'm doing this. Give it a quick rinse out, get rid of some of the muck, and then that's looking pretty good. Then when we have our three pieces, it's easier to put them in first, sandwiched together, and then add the sponge at the top again. The other benefit to doing this, of course, is if I'm wanting to seed another filter, I can just pinch one of these smaller sponges to do that without having too big an impact on this filter so as to knock my cycle out. Now I'm just going to replace the filter floss, and this is what helps to really polish the water because it's so fine. Then I'm going to add my biomedia back, and if you saw the last video, it's the Biomax I'm using for that. It's quite small, so it means you can manipulate it into the space quite well. And there's a wee bit more space up the top there for another bit of coarse foam. I don't want to use the medium or the fine because I don't want to risk choking it like I did before. And there we go, I'm feeling happier about this already. I'm really sorry, I don't remember who it was, but somebody had asked, are these filters fry safe? And I can't say that they are, no, because they could get sucked in through this grill here. They would only get as far as the sponges, and I do have Crebensis fry in this tank, which I don't seem to be losing, but I don't want to say that it's fry safe just in case. Now, the flow adjuster does a really good job. You can see how it works here. Moving it left and right blocks off the hole. I appreciate the fact that it's printed on the front which way's min and which way's max. I'm all quite forgetful, and that kind of eliminates me having to figure out which way's which. There's plenty of options for flow direction. Obviously that is your horizontal, and then if you want to add the 5-hole spray bar, that gives you vertical options. It also spreads it out a wee bit, so you've got plenty of choice there. It feels plenty solid. The build's really good. And as I said in my last video, I kind of like the way it looks. Looks a bit like a science project, but I like that. Appreciate that. To be honest with you though, once it's in the tank and your plants are growing up past it, you don't really see it, and you'll see that at the end. It's rated for a tank between 1 and 200 litres. And you can see what the other models are rated for, although they are very different, as I said. The XL is the only one with the extra compartment on the side. None of the others have that. Again, partly why I chose the XL. So with that all done, we'll whack it in a tank and come back tomorrow to see what the results are like. There we go. That's a 6-foot tank, and you can clearly see everything down the other end. That's a Eheim pickup filter in front now. If you've seen my review on that, you know that I really do like them. But with these two working side by side, my water has never been clearer. Ever. All the particles that were floating about are gone. So I've got to say, Superfish performs really well if you set it up right, which I think I have done now. Price wise, I think it was 30 quid, £30 I paid for this, which is pretty standard. I'm more than happy with that. I'll put the link where I got it in the descriptions below, and I hope results are speaking for themselves. I think it's a great wee filter. I'd recommend it, and I'm out. Later.